Okay, in this video, I'm going to take you through all of the functions of a Seiko BellMatic wristwatch. This is appropriate for a 4006 or 4005, 17 joule, 27 joule, it doesn't matter. Both are appropriate. So, let's talk about the different functions of the watch before we actually go through each function individually. The watch has three complications. It has a day, a date, and an alarm. And the alarm is, of course, by far the most complicated of those complications, and we're going to go through and spend some time understanding how each of those work. Okay, the alarm function of the watch operates through the use of a secondary mainspring that is inside of the plate of the watch, so the main plate of the watch, and you can put power into that mainspring manually. Unlike the regular mainspring that operates the hands of the watch, you may not actually wind that except by the action of the movement of the watch through the automatic rotor. So the alarm mainspring is actually wound by turning the dial or turning the crown at the primary position of the crown, which is pushed in all the way. So as long as your alarm button, which we'll get to, is pushed in and your crown is pushed in, you can set the alarm mainspring by adding power. And it's a non-automatic mainspring, so it has a point at which it actually stops. So once it gets to the stop point, stop turning, because if you go any further, you could damage the mainspring. So now you have full power into your alarm mainspring. If you notice, if you pull out your alarm button, which is what this is, we're at the point where the alarm should go off. Let's reset that. Let's set it to 3 o'clock instead. Get us back to full power. If we pull out our alarm button to its first out position, which is its only position, then I can no longer add power to that mainspring. It just freewheels. Okay, so the crown is no longer able to add power. Okay, so let's now go to the first position of the crown, and you have a unidirectional rotating internal bezel that has on it a pip or an arrow that points to an hour. To change that position, you rotate the crown counterclockwise, which in turn rotates the bezel counterclockwise. If you go in the clockwise position, there's no rotation. So you can only go 2 times below. So we're going to go back to 3. Well, let's go to midnight. Noon or midnight. This is only it only tells the hour, not the day versus night. So now we're at we're at the noon position, or at the 12 o'clock position. We can also engage the function of the alarm by pulling out the alarm button. And if we go to the second position of the crown, this is the setting position for the watch. So it's the typical winding setting position for the hour and the minute. And we can go to as close as we can get to 12. It might go a little bit before, maybe 10 minutes before, because of the position of this pip. If we go right to here with our alarm button pulled out, we see the alarm goes off. And it will go until that mainspring has wound itself down. Okay, we can also just turn off the alarm by pushing the button in. Now that's a manual use of the alarm. We can also just let the watch, of course, turn around, and if this button is pulled out, the alarm will go off when you get very close to the hour indicator on the bezel. Okay, now there are some other functions of the watch that are important. This has a day and date. There is no quick change for the day. You have to do that manually. So that means that I have to, if I want to set this from Saturday to Monday, I have to go in one direction until I get it past noon, and then Past. Again, here we go. So now we're on Monday, and now we're on Monday in the AM. But it says the 5th, but maybe it's Monday the 12th. Well, what I can do then is push my crown in, and then this button here actually sets as a quick date. If I push it inwards, is a quick date for the date. So I can advance the date by pushing in the alarm button. So let's say it's Monday the 12th. Now, it's slightly inconvenient to have to take the minute hand and the hour hand around so many times to get the the day to change, but at least you don't have a way to, you do have a way to actually set the day and the date independently. Okay, so that said, that's the function. That's basically it for the watch. To wind the watch itself, you essentially shake it as though you are dealing cards. So I just go back and forth somewhat vigorously, and it will start to operate if it's at a non-operating state. And once you put it on your wrist and start moving around, it will automatically wind itself. And so that is all of the function of this watch. There's nothing else to worry about. Again, if you want to set the alarm, you can do that by winding power into it. You can pull out your alarm button. You can turn your bezel to the time you want. Let's say I want it to go off at 2 o'clock, which is the time right now. Not something you'd normally do, but when you get there, you got an alarm. And the alarm will go backwards with the setting of the watch as well, which is kind of interesting. But that's not normally what you would do. All right. That's it. That's how BellMatic works.